Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Storytime Society. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so happy you're here. I'm so glad you're alive. Thanks for joining me for another episode of the Storytime Society. Of course, I have my little guests. Hopefully, I think my third one is about to join me. She's thinking about it over there. But we'll see if they act up because sometimes they be acting up and more specifically this little orange cream guy. Oh, Poppy left, but because he likes to bite stuff, including his mom, aka me. But anyways, we're gonna get straight into the episode, and this episode is themed around bridezillas. Okay, I know we already did like a wedding themed episode, but this is specifically bridezillas, and we're just gonna get started into the first story. I'm sweating my ass off right now, but it's okay. All right. Ready for this? The title is Bridezilla Ruins Her Own Wedding and Demands the Bridal Party Pay Her Canceled Wedding. Starting the year strong, I swear. So, my friend Dana, female 29, was supposed to be getting married this past Sunday, January 14th. The wedding got canceled and things had gotten very crazy. Dana was getting married to Josh, male 32. She's still in college with me and asked a few friends from college, myself included, to be in her bridal party. Now, from the start, this wedding has been a disaster. I'm going to just point out a few of the crazy stuff that we dealt with. One, she refused to invite my best friend, who she's supposedly good friends with, because she thinks that we're lesbian lovers. We're not. She had us go to the dress fitting and then demanded each of us pay $2,000 each for our dresses. Apparently, she had a specific style that she wanted. I can afford it, but I won't buy a $2,000 dress for one event. Some of the girls in the bridal party don't have that flexibility with money. Apparently, Josh couldn't invite any single females that were not blood relatives of him, so if he had any female friends, they were axed. One of the girls in the bridal party doesn't drink because of her religion. Dana accused her of being pregnant in front of her parents and almost got her kicked out of her house. She was not pregnant and she was dropped from the bridal party. No, and she dropped from the bridal party. She was a class act, though, and never bad talked Dana. Just said that she couldn't make it. We found out about it pretty much on the day of the wedding. She tried to make us cancel our holidays with our families to instead go with her to a destination bachelorette party. I work full time, even during the holidays, so I told her that was not happening. More of the bridesmaids said similar things, and she dropped it. That's just 5 of the things of countless drama that this wedding was having before the day. Now, the meat of the story comes on the wedding day. The day started horribly. Dana was having a meltdown because apparently the flower girl had to cancel because she has chickenpox. She was threatening to sue the mother unless she brought this sick 3-year-old to the wedding. Josh apparently was able to calm her down from this starter outburst, and we began preparations. The whole day she had constant outbursts. She made people cry, like wedding staff and bridesmaids. The maid of honor deserves a medal for the amount of diplomacy and bullshit control she had to do. I, for the most part, took the easy route and decided to work outside the bridal suite, like checking flowers, making sure food was okay, basically any excuse to not be around the bride. Eventually, I had my makeup and hair done, and then the bride asked for a little bit of time alone to decompress from the stress. We didn't even fight it. You could not see a group of women run faster away. Wedding was starting in about 30 minutes, so we figure she would be alone. She would be fine alone for that little. I spent those 30 minutes just sitting in the chapel with my phone. It had to be about 5 minutes before the start of the wedding when the maid of honor came over to tell me the wedding was canceled. I asked her what happened, and the maid of honor said Dana was having a quickie with Josh's uncle in the room, and Josh caught them. I just stared at the maid of honor with my mouth pretty much about to reach the floor. She told me to run and that she was trying to get as many people out before things exploded. So I quickly got my purse, gathered the 2 bridesmaids that were carpooling with me, and left like the devil was after us. I checked with the other bridesmaid and all had escaped. That night, I called the maid of honor to check what happened, and the tea was bad. Apparently, and rightfully, Josh called off the wedding, called her a few names, told off his uncle, and has since left with his mates to, I hope, have the biggest single male party ever. I feel so bad for him. He's an absolute gem of a man. He apparently also told Dana and her parents that she will be paying for the cancellation fees. According to the maid of honor, Dana's father told her in front of everyone that she was paying it on her own. I thought that that was the end of it. I made the choice to separate myself from this mess until I got a call from Dana not even an hour ago, demanding $5,000 to help pay for her cancellation fees. According to Dana, it was our duty as the bridal party to pay her cancellation fees. I obviously told her no and that she might as well lose my number. I'm never speaking to this woman again. This has been pretty much the reaction of all bridesmaids and the maid of honor, by the way. Maid of honor is Josh's older sister. So I finally got permission from Josh to update on the situation today, April 10th, 2024. Going to start by saying he's doing much better. He's moved out to a new place away from Dana and has some of his mates as his roommates. He also cut contact with his uncle, as did most of his family. He's put a pause on dating for some time, considering Dana was his first and only girlfriend for years, so he needs time to heal. Dana has now become persona non grata with my friends. She even tried to move in with one of them without telling her by appearing at 10 p.m. at night and saying, "You can't send me away this late at night." It didn't work. I don't know where she's living, but I can say for sure she's absolutely, without any doubt, very much screwed. She has 4 lawsuits, one from Josh for obvious reasons, one from his sister for the dresses that she bought, one from the bridesmaid she accused of being pregnant, and one from Josh's uncle, since apparently Dana used his credit card. She apparently moved with him after the failed wedding. So yeah, she threw away her life and she's pretty much without support. I saw Dana's parents some days ago and they haven't had any contact with her since the wedding. They are actually moving with their other daughter, 22, to another state. As for Josh's sister, we've been hanging out for a while. She actually became super tight with my friends and I. We're even planning a trip sometime next year with her and her 7-year-old to Disney. And yes, we've all agreed to divide the babysitting. We offered, and she didn't press us to do so. I'm just wondering why in the actual hell you were friends with this girl to begin with. Like, you're telling me that she wasn't an absolute terror of a person before this wedding, because I'm sure that is not the case. Like, that's just the only thing that I'm questioning is what makes you be friends with this girl to the extent that she has bridesmaids. Like, no. Especially at the age of 29 years old. Like, I'm 26 years old and I can say for sure that, like, I've had some very shitty friends, but I've grown so far out of those, like, shitty friendships that I don't even care to be in those like friendships anymore. Like, I mean, honestly, a while ago, like even just friends from high school that just were so terrible to me, and I started to realize, like, after I moved away, that why the hell was I ever friends with them? Like, one of the girls that literally ruined my life in middle school, and then we became friends again, and it was like a very on and off situation, but that's pretty much how she was with everyone, because like she was a terrible friend, and she was literally like the worst friend ever. I can't believe she even has friends still. Hopefully she's grown up because she's a kid now, but it was like a few years ago, but she like asked me if I wanted to get drinks with her when I was home for Christmas break, and I was like, no, actually, like, I don't have any interest in that because, first of all, I don't live there. So, like, I don't really feel the need to reconnect with you. I see who I want to see, and I have good friends that I like to see and spend time with while I'm there and have the time to spend time with them. I'm not going to waste my time on some girl that literally was a terrible person and terrible friend to not only me, but a lot of my friends as well. So, no thanks. But I just can't imagine like staying friends with someone like this. It's just kind of crazy to me. If you have friends like this, get away before something literally explodes and causes the end of the friendship, because I promise you, like, having and keeping friends like this is not worth it, and it never will be, because in what way does it benefit you? Okay, some of the comments are saying, "Oh my, I like the description of how the bridesmaids made a quick escape. That was a close call for Josh. He was about 30 minutes away from making the biggest mistake of his life." Also, I kind of forgot to even touch on the fact that she was fucking his uncle. Like, that's honestly crazy. That's so out of pocket and preposterous, to be honest. Diabolical behavior. I cannot imagine, like, walking in on my fiance just screwing my uncle. That's crazy. But, like, are we surprised? She's a terror of a person. So, like, why Are we surprised? How do you have a fiance? How are you about to get married? I just wish that people had higher standards for themselves sometimes. I really do. I just wish so badly that, like, not me, like, using my hand to talk on my cat. I just wish so badly that people understood that you actually don't have to settle for this terrible person that is literally going to make your life a living hell. You really don't. And I promise you it's going to be okay, even if it takes you a little bit to find someone good enough or that is just a better person. Like, I promise you it's going to be worth the wait, you know? Okay, let's read more comments. What the actual F? This is insane. Cancellation fees, even at 30 minutes till this ceremony. All the vendors, supplies, and setup are there and ready to roll. They better have charged her the full bill. OP said, I hope so too, but I have no idea. I just know she wants 5K from 5 people. That's insane. You owe me 5K because I was screwing my fiance's uncle. Okay, that makes sense. Yep, that's our fault. You tripped and fell into his uncle's penis, I guess. I'm still thinking about those $2,000 bridesmaids dresses. Nobody cares or remembers what the bridesmaids wore. So real, and they're always like matching, so it's like no one even looks at them and is like, "Oh my god, those are so beautiful." I feel like the dresses are always like so bare minimum, and I mean, I guess there are some that are like cute, but especially from like David's Bridal, like the ones that I've had to wear were just I just don't like them. They're not flattering. They're not cute. I just feel so basic and not unique at all. And I know that like the bride is supposed to stand out, but I just have my own like style and I like to represent my style no matter what I'm doing. So the fact that I had to like blend in was so annoying. But maybe that makes me sound like a pick me. I don't know. I just like fashion and I like style. So like I don't know. Yeah, you have to find your own way to put your little touches on it. But both of the weddings that I was bridesmaids in, we had to get them from David's Bridal, and they were just not cute. And then like, it's not that like $130 or I think 170 somewhere around there. I paid for each of the dresses. It's not like that's like so crazy expensive, but it's truly so hard to spend that money on a dress that you're gonna wear once in your life, you know? I wish, like for my wedding, if I even have bridesmaids, which I highly honestly don't know if I'm going to because the type of wedding that I want to have is just like so different. I want to do like a fun, I don't know. I want to like rent out like a cottage on like a farm somewhere and like a big cottage though, so that like my family and friends can stay there and then other people can stay like close by and then have like the backyard be where we have the wedding and it's just like a small little intimate wedding. We get married. We don't have to have like a big fuss, but like I would love to do a lot of like the decorating DIY me because I love decorating stuff and I love like thrifting, finding stuff in Facebook Marketplace, finding stuff. I feel like I could make it look so cool and like my own thing and just like unique and not have to worry about spending a shit ton of money, even though I know that it's still going to cost like money. But I just feel like it'd be so fun. So I don't know if I'll have bridesmaids or not. I mean, maybe it would just be like you guys are like honorary bridesmaids, but like without a bunch of commitment. I would love to like thrift everyone's dresses and they don't have to pay for them and I can just thrift them for like super cheap because I mean, I have like a vintage store that I don't really do much anymore, but online. And I used to for like a few years. That was my full time thing, like right out of college. So I know like good thrifting places. I know how to like really look for a good dress. And I found so many beautiful dresses. So I feel like I could really make it so cute. But, anyways, that's a tangent that I don't need to get into right now. So sorry about that. Okay, someone said, was she this batshit crazy before, or did the wedding bring that out of her? OP said she used to be super nice before her engagement, and things just went downhill. Ew, that's crazy because I feel like that happens sometimes where, like, when, I don't know. Some women just feel like they're better and above other people when they're, like, engaged or whatever, or married. Like, I'm better than you because I found a partner that wants to marry me. when obviously that's not the case. Your relationship status does not determine your worth. That is 100% sure, because you can be in a relationship like this, and I highly doubt anyone would want to be in a relationship where their spouse is cheating on them with their uncle. So, okay, let's read the next story. This is a shorter one, and this is in the Bridezilla's forum. Okay, the title is I lost my friend because I couldn't afford her wedding, and now karma's coming around. I don't want to bore anyone with the details, but my husband and I went through a financial hardship out of nowhere while I was a bridesmaid of a friend's wedding a few months ago. As we were going through this hardship, the bride wanted a few $100s for bridal events on short notice, and my husband and I had rent to pay. We couldn't pay both on such short notice. Obviously, we chose our rent. I tried to explain this to her, and she didn't understand, got mad, and she demoted me to a guest over it, claiming as I was a horrible friend and should have budgeted. Keep in mind we have children and I'm a stay-at-home mom. Trust me, we budget. And we haven't spoke since. I couldn't believe such a good friend of mine could be so cold-hearted, but thankfully, happy to say our financial situation is starting to get better. I recently found out her and her about-to-be husband just got laid off at the same time because they both missed so many days at work and kept calling off and were pretty much just not doing their jobs. They are in a ton of debt too, and we're about to buy a house. I know she's a bridesmaid in a few weddings as well right now, so maybe she can feel how I had to feel for a little bit. I never wished anything bad for her despite everything, but wow, funny how karma comes around. That is crazy. That is truly karma. I honestly do believe in karma, and that's why, like, random things I'll be like, wait, I don't want to do this because karma might come to get me. And I do not want karma to come get me. Like, even just like tiny little things. Like, I don't want to, I don't even know, like, leave this cart out in the parking lot, even though I really am so lazy right now. But I'm going to go put it back. Otherwise, like, the karma demons are going to come for me. And I don't want that to happen. Yeah, that sounds a little no, definitely, people definitely do that. Like, don't even lie to me and tell me that you don't do that sometimes. Because if you aren't motivated by negative, like, well, if you believe in that kind of stuff or, like, are superstitious, there's no way that you don't do things and think about that in the back of your head sometimes. Just being like, oh, or even just, like, doing something, like, nice and being like, oh, maybe karma will come back and do something nice for me, you know? Sometimes it's motivation to be a better person. So I would, my mom always said that growing up, like, well, you should do the nicer thing and you should do the good thing, and then karma will treat you well. And then, like, don't do the bad thing, because if you do the bad thing, then karma's gonna come and get you. So I feel like I've always believed in karma just because my mom always would say that growing up. She was a firm believer and still is a firm believer in karma. Okay, some of the comments. In a way, it's also good that it happened because sometimes it takes a long time to realize someone actually isn't your friend at all. So she did you a favor, being an asshole and allowing her true colors to shine. No more wasting your time. It's nice that she gets to feel the other side, and not that anyone should need to develop empathy, but as much as I wish karma were real, the truth is most nasty people just never get their comeuppance, sadly. OP said, she definitely did me a favor. My life has been so peaceful since I stopped being friends with her. I didn't realize how much the friendship was draining me until we stopped talking. I had a similar experience years ago dropping a friend. The relief was truly immense. She left her sunglasses in my car once after I dropped her off, which she noticed after I was at home and in bed myself, rang and demanded I get in my car and return them immediately as she wanted them for the next day. Embarrassingly, I did it despite it being 3 a.m., and she looked annoyed at me, snatched them from my hand, and didn't even thank me. Best decision of my social life ever to drop her. Yikes. Did you even go to her wedding? OP said, nope. I immediately blocked her after she demoted me, not ever looking back. Yeah, I would not go to that wedding. You terrible friend does not deserve for me to go. Like, if one of my bridesmaids couldn't afford something, I would be like, that is totally fine. Like, I would either help if I could, which obviously not everyone is in the position to help with that kind of thing. And if I couldn't, then I'd be like, don't worry about it. Or, like, give her some other options, or be like, I don't know what exactly, like, what she couldn't afford, but I would let her make her own decisions. Like, you don't have to be. If you don't want to be my bridesmaid anymore, you can totally do that, because I know that sometimes it's, like, stressful. Obviously, I want you to be my bridesmaid and I love you. But if it's, like, stressing you out and adding something negative in your life, I don't want you to have to deal with that. And I don't want you to feel like you're, like, forced to be my bridesmaid, even though you can't afford it. But if you do want to continue to be my bridesmaid, but you just can't afford something, like, that's also totally fine. We can work around that and figure out something. OP said, someone said, sounds like they're not even married yet. OP, when is the wedding? Why were they doing bridal events months before it? OP said, sorry, I'm not the best writer. Forgive me. Haha. No, the wedding is next year. The bridal events were for her bridal shower and bachelorette stuff and whatnot, which is before her wedding. Crazy. That should cost hundreds of dollars in my opinion. And that's not including anything for the wedding or any gifts, which is thousands because it's a destination wedding. Ooh, yikes. If I had a destination wedding, I would be totally fine if you don't want to come. Like, I would totally understand if you didn't want to come to my destination wedding, and I would not have any hard feelings against anyone that chose not to come. Because that's the one thing that really bothers me about weddings sometimes, is just how much stress it causes. Obviously, the bride and the groom planning it and stuff, but also, like, people that are a part of it, or people that are even guests, like, especially if it's a destination wedding and the destination is an expensive destination to get to, or anything of that matter. Like, I would just be so okay just having, I don't know. I just feel like I don't really have hard feelings about stuff like that, unless it were, like, my best friend in the world. Then I'd be like, well, I'd hope that you would make it a thing and, like, try your hardest to get there. But even then, I feel like I would just be like, if you really aren't in a good financial position, then there's no hard feelings there at all, because that's just, like, not something that you can control, and that's honestly sad as well. Like, I don't want anyone to feel stressed for something that is supposed to be, like, such a big day for me and such a day of, like, love and celebrating. I would never want that to cause stress on someone. But the wedding industry, it's just gotten so out of hand and so crazy that it's just, the expectations are really crazy to me. And then and that's why you get bridezillas. That's how bridezillas are born. Okay, next story. The title is, Am I the Asshole for going bridezilla after my bridesmaid spilled wine on my wedding dress? I, 27 female, got married a month ago. My dress was this long, lacy gown that my mom wore at her wedding. My mom passed away about 2 years ago. Because the dress was so important to me, I had a big plan to keep it safe from any damages. I would only wear the dress at the wedding itself, and I would switch to a more casual dress for the reception. When I was wearing the dress, I wouldn't eat or drink anything except water, and I would stay inside at all times. I promise I'm not usually this crazy about cleanliness, but this was my mom's dress, and the thought of it being damaged broke my heart. But I also knew I wanted to wear it when I got married, to have a piece of her with me. She adored this dress and always dreamed that I would wear it. My bridesmaids knew very well about my particularities with this dress. I had a room above the venue where I was getting ready. My dress was hanging in a safe place in the room. On the day of the wedding, I went down to check on something for the wedding, leaving my bridesmaids in the room, and here's what happened as they told it to me. They opened a bottle of Pinot Noir, my favorite, as a celebration. They poured themselves glasses and began to walk around checking out the room. One of my bridesmaids, Anna, 27 female, wanted to get a closer look at my dress. She got really close to it, and she started touching the lace. Somehow, her hand holding the wine glass slipped, and the wine spilled all over the bottom of the dress. When I came upstairs, they told me what had happened, and I started sobbing. My maid of honor called several professional cleaners, and they said there was no way they could get the dress in before the wedding. They told us ways to save the dress until we could get it into them, so my maid of honor started doing that. After that call, I became extremely angry. I asked Anna what the hell she was doing holding red wine so close to my dress when she knew how careful I was being. She dismissed it and said it wasn't such a big deal because I was planning to wear the dress. It could have gotten damaged that way too. I couldn't believe she said that. I called her thoughtless and careless and stupid. I told her that she was no longer part of the wedding and that I wanted her to leave. She left, and neither of us have reached out to each other since. I got married in the dress I had planned to wear for the reception, and I was heartbroken not being able to wear my mom's dress. After the wedding, my bridesmaids joked that I was a bridezilla for kicking Anna out after she made an honest mistake. I absolutely don't think I'm the asshole or a bridezilla because Anna's reaction was horrible and insincere, but I wanted to get the story off my chest and ask some people who might be impartial. Am I the asshole? No. Not even in the slightest are you the asshole. This girl is the asshole, and also all your friends for calling you a bridezilla. Not only would I be pissed even if that wasn't my mom's dress, just a regular wedding dress. Why are you going near it with a glass of red wine, first of all? Are you absolutely the dumbest person in the world to exist because you don't do that? First of all, don't even go near the dress to begin with like, as the person. Like, you don't need to be by the dress. And then not only that, but you're holding a glass of red wine. When you're holding a glass of red wine, I feel like you are the most careful you could possibly be because it's a glass of red wine. Like, that gets on something and that is staining it immediately. But something as important as a wedding dress on the day of the wedding, and not only that, but it's her late mother's dress that she wanted, that is extremely important to her, and she was clearly making it a point, but she shouldn't have even had to make it a point to be super careful around it, because people should be smart enough to know that you just be careful around things that are a memory of someone. Like, that's insane to me. I mean, I would be so upset. I really hope that they were able to fix it, but like, I would be losing a lot of friends that day. I would be losing Anna and all those bitches that are saying I was a bridezilla. Girl, if that were my friend, I would be just as pissed at this girl as the bride is being, because I would kick that woman out immediately. And not only that, but like, okay, I get it, whatever, if it was just an honest mistake, seriously, and this girl was like sincerely apologizing and so sad and upset that happened. But then to go on to be like a bitch about it and be like, you could have ruined it too. Okay, but you didn't even give her the chance to ruin it. And also, if she ruined it, it would be a different scenario. All like, as a whole, it would be completely different, because that is her dress to ruin if she would accidentally ruin it. Like, that's no excuse for you spilling red wine on it. That's actually insane to me that someone could be that dumb and that stupid. That actually pisses me off and makes me think, like, I'm sorry. Do you have any empathy in the world? Okay, let's see. The top comment is, why would you wander around with a glass of wine next to a white wedding dress that had such extreme sentimental value? Not the asshole. They couldn't have waited. They couldn't have waited to have wine. In my opinion, even if the dress wasn't sentimental because of your mom, the fact that it's your wedding dress automatically makes it VIP. It doesn't seem bridezilla or OTT to take precautions not to have a big, ugly stains on your wedding dress. And the fact that Anna didn't seem sorry makes me feel like she deserved to be kicked out. She did. She deserved it. I don't feel that way. I know that. That's a fact. I bet $100 she did it on purpose, and the other bridesmaids being so cool with it, it was sus AF. That is so sus to me. One of my friends has a wedding photo taken after the formal shots with bridesmaids were taken, and she is covered in napkins from neck to toe because she was starving, too nervous to have breakfast, and so they got McDonald's drive-thru for her to eat, but obviously grease risk, so the bridesmaids made damn sure that not a speck or a crumb would get on her. OP's bridesmaids all suck for never at any point going, hey, this might be a bad idea, let alone trying to defend Anna afterwards. Seriously. Honey, I think you need new friends. That was not an accident. Anna did that on purpose, and the others covered for her, not the asshole. I would, oh my god, if that were on purpose, that'd be a whole nother situation. I would literally sue. Like, you would be so, I would destroy you. I don't know how, but I would try. How do you destroy someone? I don't know, but I would try, like, my hardest, because that would be crazy. And especially if, like, this person is supposed to be your friend and then intentionally ruining your wedding dress on the day of your wedding. Ooh. I would be doing some type of hex on them. I would literally create a voodoo doll and just go crazy with it. Anyways, that's the end of the story time. I hope you enjoyed the Bridezilla stories. We're gonna move on to the advice segment. If you ever want some unprofessional advice from me, then you can go in the description below, and it's a Google form. It doesn't collect any of your info, so it's completely anonymous. Buddy, are you gonna just keep going by the computer or what? Because I can't have you by the computer. All right. This advice question says, for context, I'm 20 female, so I just got out of a year-long, extremely healthy and loving relationship with a boy. He dumped me because he needed to work on himself. I make fake IDs. This guy, I'm going to call him N, that bought an ID from me, came over like a week after my breakup, and we ended up drinking and hooking up. He's been texting me like we're dating ever since. I invited N to my New Year's Eve party so that I could have a proper New Year's Eve kiss. Clearly, I thought he was chill. My intentions with this guy were just to have fun. I'm not ready to date at all again, and he is way too toxic for me to consider him as a romantic partner. It turns out he ends up drunkenly telling one of my friends that he is low key committed to some random girl and that I'm the other woman. On top of that, he said something extremely disrespectful and offensive to a different homie. After he left the party, I ended up falling asleep and cuddling with a different guy, no kissing or hookup, just pure cuddles, and I guess he saw some of it. The next day, N texted me, accusing me of being into the guy that I fell asleep on, and it gave me the biggest ick ever. I'm not dating him, and bro has a whole girl he's just lying to. Like, Jesus Christ, why are you being possessive? Of course, N's awful words got back to me the morning after, and I think I have to break things off. I keep putting myself in that girl's shoes and feeling so extremely guilty. So I guess I have 3 questions for you. 1, how do I break it off with this guy? I'm slightly afraid of him. He has been in and out of jail. 2, I want to shoot my shot at the guy that I cuddled with all night. He was so sweet, but also I'm fresh out of a relationship. Should I? And if so, how should I? 3, I could use some general breakup advice. I really miss my ex. He was the only person who treated me so right. Thanks, Queen. Okay. Number 1 question. How do I break it off with the guy that you're slightly afraid of? If you're afraid of him, I would say, honestly, okay, guys, I don't know if this is good advice or not, but I would say, first of all, if he's being possessive, like weird, so strange, and you need to get out of there for sure, never talk to this guy again. But I would probably say just to do it as nicely as possible. Like, genuinely be like, you're a great guy. I'm just like, I just got out of a relationship and I just feel like, I need some time to myself and just to take some time to myself. And I really like wish the best for you. That's that. And if he comes back acting all crazy, then just like ghost after that because you said your piece and you went amicably and you were as nice to him as possible. And I would hope that nothing would happen, but like obviously stay vigilant and make sure that you're being as safe as possible if this guy like is truly someone that you'd be afraid of. Also, always maybe share your like location with some friends and also let like a lot of the people that are close to you know that who this guy is and that you're like afraid of him just in case like something were to happen, then which God forbid, but you just always want to be like as prepared as possible just in case like he were stalking you or something and something bad were to happen, then people would know like who was responsible for it. So that's the number 1 thing that I would do. And then number 2, you're asking if you should shoot your shot and how you should shoot your shot. And what I'm going to say is I don't think there's anything wrong with like talking to guys after you break up, hooking up with guys after you break up. And maybe some people disagree with me, but honestly, I don't know. I like a good distraction after a breakup. But the only thing I think is that I think you need time to heal and time to move on from your ex and not develop another like one after the other romantic connection because I just don't think that's healthy in general. And I feel like if you want to, talk to someone else and just be in casual relationships with people, then that's totally fine. But I think that if you're wanting it to become something serious, then I would probably not do that. I just think that's unhealthy, and I don't think that you should move on from like a serious relationship, especially when you're still not over him, to another relationship that could possibly be serious, or if that's what you're wanting the outcome to be. I just don't think that that's healthy. Just because like you need time to yourself, especially because you're still not over him, and you need time to just develop a little bit and just like learn from the breakup. I think that a breakup can be such a powerful thing, and it can help you so much if you like do it. And I don't think there's a right way to do it, but if you try to go about it in the best way possible, and I feel like going about it in the best way possible is more like focusing on your other relationships that are in your life and not so much focusing on the romantic relationships for a while. Like just put that on pause for a little bit. Not saying that you can't hook up with people and not saying that you can't go on dates or be casual with people, but the romantic relationships I feel like should become like a lower priority, and the other relationships like with your friends and your family and people close to you, you should try to nurture those a little bit more and put more focus into those, and also the relationship that you have with yourself as well. So I feel like those should be the top 3 priorities, are those types of relationships, friends, family, and yourself, and then romantic relationships at the bottom. Like go on some dates, have fun, but just don't get too invested in one person for a little bit at least. Just give yourself a little bit of a break, because I think that's the healthiest thing to do. And you can learn so much by doing that. And you'll really, really thank yourself. I think as you get older, you'll thank yourself when you grow up and you like realize like, okay, I'm glad I had that time, like being single, because you don't want to come from like a committed relationship and then get into another committed relationship right after that, because you just don't have any time to grow on your own. And that's like such a healing time and such a powerful time, is you in the way that you can like focus on yourself after a breakup and the motivation that it gives you, because it really does, it like gives you a type of adrenaline that only comes after a breakup, and you need to use that as much as you possibly can. Like take advantage of that time, because trust me, it will become one of the really good moments in your life. Like it's a bad time in your life, but it's also can be a really amazing, powerful, fun time in your life. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's what I would do. Try not to get into anything so serious. And I think that kind of also is combined with the third question about asking about just like typical breakup advice. Like, that's truly what I would say, is that you should focus on other relationships with other people and yourself as well, and try to do self-care as much as possible and focus on other stuff. And like, I don't think it's bad to distract yourself with things and taking up new hobbies and doing things that you love, and just focusing on yourself and your friends and having the best time of your life, especially at 20 years old. Like, you're so young, you don't need to waste your time on relationships. You should, and not to say that you shouldn't ever get into a relationship, but like you were just in one. So I think that you should just give yourself a little bit of time, because it can be so fun. Like, you have the rest of your life to be in a relationship. So if you have the chance to be single for a little bit, especially as a young person, take advantage of it. You have the rest of your life, the rest of your life. And once you find like the person that you want to be with forever, you're going to be with that person forever, and you're not going to ever have a time like this. So be wild, have fun, but be safe at the same time. And live up your young 20s. I wish I could tell myself that. Like, that's one thing that I really wish I could have told my 20-year-old self, is just to break the fuck up with my boyfriend at the time, because I wasted so much time on him. And I wish I was single at that time, because I think that it would have been so much more fun than being in a relationship that was so toxic. And yeah, so that would be my advice. I think that kind of covers all of the bases, but I wish you the most luck. I always love like if you guys have updates and about these advice questions, whatever you end up doing, because obviously I support whatever you do. You can make your own decisions. You're an adult, and if you don't want to take my advice, you don't have to, but do whatever you think is best for yourself. Obviously, that's just my recommendations, and you can take that with a grain of salt, or you can take that and run with it. So, yeah, I love you guys, and please give me all of your advice questions because I love answering your guys' advice and just seeing like what's going on in your lives. It's very fun. But that is it for the advice segment. I had like one thing that I just wanted to say because I've been thinking about this for a while because I have this like weird desire to, I don't know, it's so annoying. I feel like I can never live in the moment. Like I'm either wanting to be in the past and like I want to replicate the way that like a 2000s rom-com feels and just like live in it, like disassociate from the reality that I live in and live in like a completely different reality, or I am wanting to be in the future and I'm like wanting to be in this like little cottage that I hope I can buy one day and like up north in New England somewhere really cute one day, and like I can never enjoy my life as it is, and I hate that about myself. And I feel like a lot of people can kind of relate to that, and I feel like that's just like kind of a normal human experience, but at the same time it's such an annoying thing to experience because I do love my life, and I can say that I'm definitely like the happiest I've ever been in my life for sure. And even though my life is not as exciting as it used to be, I am genuinely so happy and I'm like medicated, so I'm very like way more stable in my feelings, and my depression is 0%. My anxiety is like, I would say 20-30%. I don't think that will ever fully go away, but it's definitely not operating at as high of a level as it used to be. So that's really nice. And yeah, I can like think about that and appreciate where I am. But at the same time, it's like there's no in between. I either want to be living in a fucking 2000s rom-com. I'm like, okay, I'm going to start just watching all 2000s shows, listening to all 2000s music, like acting like I live in a 2000s, the world of the 2000s, and that will make me happy. Or I'm just like, oh man, like let me look at these houses on Zillow that I want. Like let me look up some cottages that I really want to live in. And like I want a horse and I want like a farm and I want this and that and this and that. And it's so annoying. So that's really just what I've been thinking about. It's like a disease, honestly. There's always like a different era that I want to live in so badly, even though like obviously the movies are not real, but it's like I just want. I've been watching Ghost Whisperer, and it's like I used to watch that all the time when I was younger with my friend, and it's very 2000s. Like it was in the 2000, like 2005, early 2000s, and I was like looking up where they live because I'm like, please, I want to move to this town. I need to move to this town so that I can feel like I'm Melinda Gordon. And then I looked it up, and it was like it's filmed in Universal Studios at in California. Like, oh man, that sucks. But yeah, that's my life. And that is just like a little inner thought that I've been having recently. I have a disease, so it's okay. But yeah, that's all I really had to say. This weekend actually I did go out with an old roommate of mine. We went to get drinks at like this old bar that we used to go to. I would go in college, and then we also would go when she was like my roommate. And she was actually my roommate for a few years, and we got really close. Like when the one year that I was going through a breakup and she was also single, we got really close and we were like hanging out a lot and going out a lot and stuff. And then that next year after that, I think we lived together for 3 years. I think it was either 2 or 3 years, but the year after that, which was the last year that we lived together, which was in 2023, I believe, she ended up getting a new boyfriend, and this guy like wouldn't commit to her, would not ask her to be his girlfriend, and she was still hanging out with us and it was good, but then like they started to get a little bit more serious and he was coming over a lot more even though he still wouldn't ask her to be his girlfriend. And then it started to be like she never came out of her room and she never would hang out with us, and we would always plan things as like roommates to like do on the weekend and all this stuff. And after 5 times of going out and she just like wouldn't do anything with us anymore, I kind of confronted her, but not like confronted, like I wasn't like, bitch, why aren't you coming out with us? I just like texted her and just said like, it's kind of sad that you don't ever come out with us anymore. Like we had really good times together, and I just feel like you're with this guy that like doesn't even want to commit to you. And I just feel like, and she also said in the beginning of their relationship that she said they both talked about it a lot, how they're both they get very codependent in relationships, and they didn't want to be that way with each other, so they wanted to try as hard as they could to not be that way together. So I think that was also in the back of my mind, where I was like, you're falling back into your codependency issues, and you are very codependent with this guy because you're not doing anything. Your whole life revolves around this guy, and you're not hanging out with anyone. Like, she didn't hang out with anyone. She just sat in her room after work with this guy and 24/7. And that was like basically the whole year. And it was really sad. And so that was like so upsetting. And then we kind of just like weren't friends because I never saw her. Even though we lived together, I never saw her because she would go in the kitchen, get her food, and bring it down to her room, and like that was just her life, and we would never see each other. So that was really sad, but they moved in together after we all moved out at the same time, like all of us. And I moved in with my boyfriend, and then she moved in with her boyfriend. And we were actually moving to the same town, which was like 25 minutes away from the town that we were living in currently. And we were moving right down the street from each other, but we weren't friends. So we didn't hang out for that whole year. Apparently, it was like a really bad year for her, and they ended up breaking up, but not really breaking up because they never solidified things, which was crazy. But he basically like used her, and she was like paying for everything, which is so terrible. And I will always be the girl that will 100% accept a girl back in my life after their breakup, because I've been there, I've done that. I understand how it is when you break up with someone and you're like, you realize that you actually just like lost all your friends, and you got out of touch with a lot of your friends because of the relationship that you were in, because you were so focused on the relationship, and you, which I hate that I can say I've been that girl, but like I have, and I know a lot of people have. So I will always be the girl that like, girl, you can come back to me and ask me to hang out, and I will say yes. Like, she immediately texted me. I think it was like right after he moved out and moved to his home state, and she was like, "Hey, I would love to like grab coffee or grab drinks sometime." And I was like, honestly happy, because I was like, I'm glad that she feels comfortable enough that she could like reach out to me, even though we spent like the whole almost 2 years like not really being friends because of that relationship that she was in. And yeah, so it was really fun to grab drinks and just like catch up, and also like talk about old times, and just, it was really nice, and it felt very like natural. It's always nice to have like the friends that you can just hang out with even though you haven't seen or really talked to each other in so long, and it just feels like comfortable and natural. Like, it was really nice, and it was really fun. So we live kind of far away from each other now, which is annoying. Like, we live probably 35-40 minutes away from each other because I moved back to closer to where we lived previously, but a little bit more like away from where she lives. So we won't be able to see each other like that often, but hopefully we'll get together more often and be able to hang out. But yeah, if any of my friends are ever watching this and they are not friends with me because they're dating someone and then they get broken up with, or they break up with their boyfriend, like, I'm here. Text me. I'll hang out with you, because that's like the thing that you need the most after a breakup. And it's always the worst when it's like, well, you didn't talk to me when you were in a relationship, so I don't want to be your friend anymore. Because it's like, come on. I feel like we've all fallen victim to that kind of situation, and it sucks to be that, especially like get out of the relationship and then you're like, fuck, I have no friends because I just literally lost everyone because of that relationship. And not that it's like an unhealthy relationship, but like I've had a relationship where I've like lost my friends, not lost them, but just like I didn't really talk to them. So we kind of like grew apart. And it wasn't because it was unhealthy. It was just because I was so focused and relationship focused and focused on being with that person that like I didn't nurture my friendships, which is just sad. And I hate that, but that's sometimes just happens. And yeah. So, anyways, I love you guys. And I'm about to go probably just edit this and then be done with work for the day because I don't want to be like staying up. I always am doing stuff like till 9 p.m. and I need to stop doing that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Storytime Society. Let me know your thoughts on this episode. Let me know everything in your brain, okay? I love you guys so much and thank you for being here. Bye.